We have a little bit of a look at who some of the Trump jurors are. And, first of all, I want to make sure we're staying on top of these cases because I do think that they're very politically significant. Obviously, they're important to, the American people, regardless of how you feel about them. And also because it's just wild to imagine trying to be unbiased with regard to Donald Trump.
It's
like
impossible.
Literally anybody.
Impossible.
Because he has single-handedly, one of the things that he has done to this country, which is honestly terrible, he's made politics and culture like the same.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I immediately noticed, I lived in Kentucky at the time when he was elected, is the swim team moms and soccer moms that I was around who used to never want to talk politics, where it was if I even brought up I was doing anything in politics, they got kind of quiet.
They get weird about it.
Now suddenly this was what everybody wanted to talk about, and everybody had an opinion about Donald Trump, pro, con, whatever. So it's very difficult to imagine assembling an actually unbiased jury. Although I do think people genuinely, I served on a grand jury when I actually lived in New York. It was an interesting experience. And my experience was that the people that were there were genuinely trying to take their civic duty seriously and do the best that they possibly could. So I do want to say that. But just to give you a sense of how difficult it is to find these individuals, the media interviewed a potential juror who had said, I think I could be unbiased. Now, she's not on the jury because of a scheduling conflict, but take a listen to how she described her feelings about Donald Trump.
Can you share your opinion of the former president and why you felt that you could be unbiased?
I'm not a fan. During COVID-19, I lived with someone who was immunocompromised, and I think his handling of COVID-19 was abysmal. I have a sister who is adopted from China, and the comments he made about China when he was running for president made her very anxious and therefore made me angry. There are policies he has supported that regard women and reproductive health that I do not agree with. And I think all of that needs to be addressed.
So,
Lady.
She's clearly got an opinion. People are dragging her. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, you're not going to find, she's being honest. You're not going to find a single person.
She's honest on the camera. She's not honest in the ballot or wherever, in the jury, whatever it's called. You've been through this. I haven't been.
Yeah.
She said she was unbiased whenever she was asked by the court. It's only after she's dismissed that she's like, no, I can't stand 12 different things that he did.
I mean, but listen, she could make the argument but that has nothing to do with the specific case. Right? Because everyone is going to have something he did they like, they don't like, his personality, whatever. Every person who is on this jury that's claiming they're wholly and completely unbiased, there's no way. There's no way you don't have some prior opinion about him. The best you can do is try to put that aside and just look at the specifics of the case. The other thing that was kind of funny that unfolded in the courtroom is to try, the judge trying to get at all right, who is really the most unbiased and what does your social media presence look like? They were reading all of these posts that had been made by some of the prospective jurors about Trump. And here's one snippet of an exchange here. We can put this up on the screen. So they're asking this prospective juror, about his social media. What do you think? What do you do? And they say, well, how about you, sir? Do you use any websites or any Facebook? And the prospective juror says, well, I'm a repost king. I love that. So I'll see something that I thought was interesting and I'll repost it. I do the Google thing and YouTube. I can control what I watch and I can look at the thumbnails and decide if I'm going to watch it or not. And they reply, that makes sense, and then continue on. But there was a lot of this going on, of digging into the social media habits, the news gathering habits of these individuals. In terms of the right, there's already an effort to kind of seize on their bios and say, listen, this can't possibly be an unbiased jury. Although I will say on the other side of things, people were noting there were 2 lawyers who have already been picked. The jury hasn't been fully filled on. I think they have 7 jurors. And by the way, they're in court today, again, trying to complete this jury selection process. They picked 2 lawyers. And there were some analysts who were saying that might actually be a good thing for Trump because they are more skilled at looking at the specifics of the case or considering these potential technicalities. So I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just telling you what some analysts were saying about some of these potential jurors. In any case, Jesse Waters was going through the list and not liking what he was finding about these individuals based on the characteristics that were described. Let's take a listen to a snippet of that.
A nurse from the Upper East Side with a master's degree. She's not married, has no kids, and lives with her fiance, who works in finance. She gets her news from the New York Times, Google, and CNN. She said two things that really stuck out. One, quote, I don't really have an opinion of Trump, and, quote, no one is above the law. I'm not so sure about juror number 2.
So apparently saying no one is above the law is disqualifying potentially Jesse Waters.
It is one of those like liberal shibboleths, right? So it's like one of those things when it's like when when people like chant Israel has a right to defend itself.
Yeah.
It's not like bad per se, but whenever you hear someone say that, you're like, I do actually know a lot.
It's liberal coded.
Yeah, it's
liberal coded.
Like no one is above the law.
But
it's like chanting that to the end of time.
It's also funny that that would be something that becomes liberal coded.
Sure, yeah.
You know, when you're supposed to be the law and order people over there.
I see it both ways. As I was showing you, one of the jurors actually just dropped out because she was like, you know what, screw this. Publicly available details of her bio had apparently informed family and friends that she was on the jury, and she said, "I don't want to deal with this."
I actually wonder. I wonder if it was this person.
That's possible.
It's very possible. You got 1 in 7 chance, and it's a woman that dropped out, so it's actually an even more likely. So it is possible. And I was thinking about that. I mean, if you are on this jury, you are signing up to be a public figure, to be smeared, be attacked. I feel for them. It's not a job that you should sign up for lightly. We do have some of those details.
It was the nurse, Krystal.
It was her.
Yeah, it just came out. It was the oncology nurse. That was it.
Wow.
Wow, just got the news. Wow. Okay.
Well, no one's above the law. I guess that's what did her in. So last, we've got this tear sheet of who the first 7 jurors, now 6, were 4 male, 3 females, now 2 females. Some of the details here that I found interesting, just to give you a sense of who these people are, because I do think it's kind of interesting. You've got juror number 1 is a middle-aged salesman from Ireland. He's going to be the case's foreman, lives in West Harlem, said he normally gets his news from, listen to this list, New York Times, Daily Mail, Fox News, and MSNBC.
Wow.
That's a rare one.
That's
a rare one.
Well-rounded person.
He says in his spare time he enjoys doing anything outdoorsy. Once worked as a waiter, but has worked in sales for the last 3 decades. When asked if he was aware of Trump's other criminal cases, he responded, I've heard of some of them. And if you go down the list, you got a mixed bag in terms of the news sources, and most of them are sort of claiming I don't really follow the news that closely. Some of them express embarrassment that they don't know more of the details of the case, which I find believable. People are busy living their lives. You can certainly find some jurors who are just not following things closely. That's probably your best bet in terms of finding an actually quote unquote unbiased jury.
Say, if I'm Trump, you know who I want? I want people who don't read the news. I want people who are actually the least informed, because they will not have preconceived opinions. I want people who watch TV, go to the game, care about sports, living their lives, and I want them to be able to come in with a relatively open slate. So you could say, yeah, I think something about Trump, based on whatever. I vote every once in a while. My uncle votes. He tells me. That's what I want. People who are hardcore ideological and almost too informed to a certain extent. In a certain way, you're going to have very, very well-founded opinions about this, which you're not going to be able to be unbiased whenever you come to the jury box. So if I was Trump, I actually think things are going in a direction which may be better for him. That's really his only prayer at any of this.
Let me give you a little bit about juror number 4, because I thought this one was interesting. He said he finds the former president to be, quote, fascinating and mysterious.
True.
He walks into a room, he sets people off one way or another, the juror said. I find that really interesting. Really, this one guy can do all of this? Wow, that's what I think. He's originally from Puerto Rico, has lived in the Lower East Side for the last 40 years, self-employed IT consultant, has attended 1 year of college, has been married for a long time, has 2 grandkids. He says, quote, I have no spare time when answering the questionnaire. My hobby is my family. So previously served on a jury trial, but it was a long time ago. Normally gets his news from Daily News, New York Times, and Google. A lot of them saying they get their news from Google. What does that mean?
I think they mean Google News. That's my, that's gotta be it, right? Like a Google News reader or something like that.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't
They
know
like
what
automatically serve you.
So
It's like that Apple News crap that you get on your phone.
Apple News.
Yeah.
I've deleted that a long time ago. I don't use any of that. But yeah, I think a lot
The
of people
things they
use.
serve me are insulting
Yeah,
sometimes.
horrible. It's like, I don't even know. It's like pop culture crap or whatever. So in my experience, the way that a lot of normal people engage with the news is exactly like you said. Apple News, Newsreader, something like that. iPads are usually involved. We're talking about boomers. Boomers love their iPads.
They do.
I don't understand
True.
it. I will never understand the iPad thing, but they love to read news on their iPad, specifically in the Apple News app. So I guess they're being well informed.
Very true. But you know what? Sometimes my mom will get one of those Apple News alerts and she'll bring up something to me that I had missed. So now that she's retired, she's been helping me with my news sources.
I mean, that's good.
So anyway, good luck and Godspeed to these jurors because I don't envy them this task, and every word that they utter, everything they've done in their life is about to be scrutinized and used against them.
I would absolutely not do it. But anyway, all right, we will see you guys later. Thank you guys so much for watching. We had a guest, but unfortunately it didn't work out. We are working on rescheduling them. Really appreciate everybody who watched the show today, who supports us, check out the debate. We'll post it later maybe tomorrow or something like that on our podcast feed. And if you can help us out, breakingpoints.com. We'll see you later.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.